Hello, gorgeous people. How are you? Today I'm talking about bloody pessimists. Are you a pessimist? Well, I'm talking to you. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So, I've talked about optimism, the difference between optimism and pessimism and everything. And we know that our mental attitude creates the life that we have. It creates our reality. As a man thinketh, so is he. And do you know how many philosophers and important people have said that in essence? Endless. I was listening to somebody yesterday who was reciting all of the people that have said, whatever you think, that's what your life's going to be. Okay? So that aside, we know that. It doesn't really pay to be pessimistic. Now, we do need pessimists, or certainly that attitude, because they're the people who are able to flag up when us optimists are running down the wrong track, or when we're getting a bit carried away with ourselves. It's true. It's true. As an optimist, we can get carried away with ourselves. One of the problems with being too optimistic is that we can find ourselves making promises to people that cannot be fulfilled. And we saw that. We saw all of these people, and I was one of them at the time, making promises about how quickly all of this was going to be sorted. Making promises. Looking at people in the eye saying, don't you worry, by March, it's going to be sorted. And of course it wasn't, but it was optimistic thinking. And also we believed other people who were being optimistic as well. Okay, so it was a bit of a bit of a virus, a bit of a mind virus going around. However, the reason I was talking to the emissaries about pessimism is because what I'm noticing is that the pessimists within our movement, the ones who are going, oh my God, this is only going to lead to bad. I remember I was a long time ago, I talked to a guy here in Spain, and he, like a very, very intense Catholic, and he was saying, well, we're in the last days, but we've got to go into the Great Tribulation. It's going to last 3 years. It's going to be horrific. It's going to be awful. Awful. And I was thinking, for God's sake, all right, but keep that to yourself. And it wasn't the case, but that's what he was saying. Yeah. And then, I've had other conversations, and I've been talking about the Great Awakening since the emissaries talked to me about the Great Awakening. And I've been saying the Great Awakening's happening, it's coming, it's here, it's upon us. And the pessimists have been saying, bollocks. Look around, they're all asleep. Bollocks. There's no Great Awakening. Bollocks. Okay? And I understand. Remember when we get the confirmation bias, if you were a pessimist, then what your mind is going to give you is confirmation of that pessimism. And if you're an optimist, what your mind's going to give you is confirmation of your optimism. So I was seeing the Great Awakening, and the pessimists were not. They were seeing sleeping people. Okay? And neither of us were right. And both of us were right at the same time. However, I've been having conversations with pessimists, ex-pessimists, yeah? And they're starting to say, hey, I know you were talking about the Great Awakening, and I couldn't see it at the beginning, but even I'm beginning to see it. Conversations that are happening, random conversations with random people, just talking about stuff and going, oh my God, what is going on? I can't believe it. People having conversations about these with random people, and people saying, yes, my life's never been the same. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my life, blah, blah, blah. It's all over. I talked just this very morning with my mother-in-law about there's a big scandal coming up in Spain. Would you believe, about masks, and about the fact that many people were lining their pockets with contracts of the masks. Friends of politicians, etc. Can you believe it? Can you believe that would happen in Spain and in all of the other countries? Because it happened, they were talking about this a year ago in the UK. So it was all over the shant, and all of that's coming out, and stuff about this is coming out as well, all over the place. They can't stop it now. There are too many sources. It's way out of their hands. So my mother-in-law it was like talking to a conspiracy theorist, talking to her. She's never been like that. And suddenly she was calling the politicians all the worst shites, all of them, around the entire world. That's what she said. Remember what the emissary said about one of the waves of waking up was going to be waking up to government. And boy, there's a lot of people. A lot of people. Can I get any deeper in my voice? There's a lot of people waking up to the government. Indeed they are. Anyway, getting back to pessimism and optimism. So, pessimists are starting to come round. They're starting to turn the corner. Although it was a bit of a dark corner, but they're starting to turn the corner. So I asked the emissaries about pessimistic people. And they said, we want to tell you one thing that's very, very important. No amount of pessimism is going to stop the Great Awakening. And that was the first thing they said. The Great Awakening is happening with or without pessimism. The Great Awakening is happening with or without optimism. They said, yes, optimism and positive thinking is going to bring it a little bit quicker, but it's going to happen because it's the plan. And they said, so our message to pessimists, this is deliberately their words, our message to pessimists is for them not to worry. Their pessimism is not going to do anything. It's not going to stop the Great Awakening. They said, all it's going to do, their words, they said, we are living in glorious times. This is a glorious moment. Okay, whether we think it or not. Glorious moment. They said, if you go through this time with a spirit of optimism, then you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to look back on that moment, this moment that we're in, and you're going to have fond memories. It's going to be a good time to think about. They said, if you're a pessimist, then what's going to happen is you're going to go through this time not feeling very good, feeling bad. And when you look back on that time, you're going to have bad memories. And so they said, all that we're saying is, you might as well reframe it into glorious times so that you enjoy it a little bit more. It's not, we're not exactly in enjoyable times. Let's be honest. I think they were pushing that reframe a bit, glorious times. They are glorious because they're bringing the glory back to God, I think, in that way. But they're not fun times. These are not fun times. Funny times, absolutely. Fun times, less. However, if you go through these tough times with optimism, then it just makes everything easier. Everything. And if you go through with pessimism, well, it makes it a drudge. It's a question of, are we skating on ice or are we wading through mud? That's all. That's all. So that's what they said. Pessimists, give yourself a break. That's what they said. Their words, give yourself a break, because being pessimistic changes nothing. It's not going to stop. It's not going to hinder, because this is way bigger. And then we finished the conversation and this came to mind. Now what I must say, the emissaries give me the idea, like a frequency idea, and my mind converts that into words. So what they said in the end, and it was the essence, it wasn't their words, these are my words. They said, pessimists, have a cork and a smile and cheer the fuck up. That's kind of how they left it, yeah? But that's just me translating. They probably said something like, cheer up and God's love be with you. Probably that's what they were saying. I converted that into have a cork and a smile and cheer the fuck up. Yeah? I love you all and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.